All right, guys. I'm covering a lot of stuff pretty quickly, and there's a lot of stuff in my head and a lot of stuff I read about. Okay, what I said before is basically Noah, or the biblical Noah, or the legend of Noah, because he's called many names in many different stories, and a lot of people may not realize that. If you just read the Bible, you don't realize that. But I definitely encourage everybody to check out the other stories about the flood. There's the Sudra, who was told by his God to save the world from a flood, the Sumerian flood myth. And there's also, I don't even know how to say this name. I'm not going to even try. Zisutros. There's Atrahasis, who was warned by Enki to save the world from a flood. There's Utnapishtim, who was warned by the god Ea, which is another name for Enki, to save the world from a flood. And then we have Noah, who was told by God to save the world from a flood. Um, so I really encourage you guys just to go ahead and just research that on your own. I don't have time to go through all the stories and compare and contrast. But in the Book of Enoch, or it's a small version of called the Book of Noah inside the Book of Enoch, actually, where Noah is described as being white with white hair and stuff like that. Not to get messed up with being white. I'm not trying to say that white people are the children of the angels. No, I'm just saying that possibly Noah was albino. He was the first albino. He was white, and even in African culture, albinos are sometimes killed. To this day, it's really crazy. Albinos are killed by witch doctors and hunted because people believe that their blood or their bones can be used for magic. So a lot of albinos go into exile trying to escape being hunted by witch doctors, which is really scary. You can go ahead and Google that if you want to. Go ahead and research that on your own. Albinos in Africa are often killed and hunted because people believe that their blood is magic. And have you ever seen that movie Powder? Yeah, watch that movie. That was pretty cool. Anyhow, I'm going on a tangent. Noah was said to have been fair-skinned. Now, of course, in the Book of Enoch, God reassures everybody that no, that's your son. Even though, like I said, if you agree with me that all people were brown-skinned back then, and having a white son is pretty unusual. It's like, hey, that ain't my baby. In other stories, and you got to take this with a grain of salt. It's Sitchin. I know a lot of people don't like Zachariah Sitchin, but he talks about the whole, ancient alien thing. And in his narrative, he confirms that Enki lusted for Bat-Tanash, the wife of Lamak. When Lamak returned to Eden, to him Bat-Tanash, the sun showed. White as snow his skin was, like the skies were his eyes, his brilliance, his eyes were shining. Lamak complained, a son unlike the earthling to Bat-Tanash was born. Is he son of the Agigi? His father, Bat-Tanash, swore none of the Agigi is the boy's father. The Agigi were a level of angels. And then it says, Enlil, who is Yahweh, the biblical Yahweh, however, was enraged at Enki, the god of the earth, for creating the earthling hybrids. Because Enki, in a lot of the Babylonian stories, Enki is a god, but he is really horny. And that's not strange because even in the Greek stories, you have a lot of the gods who are just really horny all the time. And they have their way with women. And sometimes those children end up being a little bit different from the other humans. And this is where we get the stories of the demigods and stuff like that. But we also get the story of the Nephilim. And it kept on happening. And in the biblical stories, you have the story of the giants. And where do you think Goliath came from? Goliath was huge. And usually Nephilim are described as being very tall. Some of them have 6 fingers. Just different genetic discrepancies that are slightly different from average humans. But I'm going to say this because I was talking about how angels are reptilian. Seraphim means serpent or flying serpent or fiery serpent, and all angels have reptilian natures about themselves. So the Anunnaki are reptilian in nature. They, even though they're humanoid, but they're reptilian in nature because the first creatures were reptilian. And they mixed with the mammalian primates and created a human mammalian reptilian hybrid, which is us. And Noah, who is the patriarch of humanity, because they destroyed everything after that, or before that, they destroyed all of humanity with the deluge. Maybe they didn't destroy the entire world. I won't go that far, but they destroyed all of humanity, which is the civilization of mankind at that time, with a gigantic flood. And the only survivor was one man and his family. And that one man happened to be a child of the gods because he was very unusual looking. And that man is the patriarch of us all because all his three sons or whoever else ended up creating the nations that we have today. So we all have a level of reptilian blood in us. And I think this is where we get our Rh negative bloodlines and stuff like that, because a lot of Rh negative people are incompatible with Rh positive blood people. So if we all come from, let's just say the biblical narrative is true and we all come from just two people. If we all just come from two people, then why do we have different blood types? And why are some of those blood types not compatible with others? I mean, it's just a little crazy, y'all, a little crazy. So it doesn't explain it. Coming from two people does not explain where all the races come from, where all the hair textures come from, where all the skin tones come from, where all the eye colors come from. It doesn't explain where all the blood types come from, because there's more to humans than just what we look like. It's also in our blood. So it's very unusual. Very unusual, I have to say. But like I said, when you study other things, you start saying, well, maybe it's because we're all hybrids of different degrees. And it doesn't necessarily mean what color you are, because I know Rh negative people are like, well, all our Rh negative people are blonde hair, blue eye, or red hair. Baby, I am black and I am O negative, so yeah. But I'm saying is that all people have a level of reptilian blood in them. Now, where we get this whole Illuminati stuff is that there is a class of people who have been interbreeding with their cousins and their sisters and stuff. And so their blood is a little bit more potent. So they have a little bit more reptilian blood than everybody else. And everybody else is a little bit more mammal. So that's why they call them the lizard people. Because they're cold as hell. They don't care. They don't give a fuck. And they have more reptile blood. And they feel like they're more important because the quote-unquote gods, the Elohim, are mostly reptilian. So that's what they feel like they have a right to rule. Anyhow, so this is where we get all these stories of the Illuminati, the angels, the Nephilim, and these Egyptian stories, of why people feel like they're better than other people. And it all comes from the beginning, the Babylonian stories of the dragons, and how people feel like they believe that they are just direct descendants from these dragons. Even in Asian culture, to be referred to as Enter the Dragon, it's called a master. And what was it? White supremacists call high levels of their superiority the Grand Dragon. Is that by chance? Y'all gotta wake up, man. Wake up to what's going on. You can continually stay in your Pollyanna reality and think that none of this is related, but it is. So I'm gonna leave you guys with that because I am running out of time. Leave me your comments, because if you don't do it, then who will? Peace out, guys.